So now we have something really exciting. I want to welcome my colleague, Alison Tshangana, to the stage. We are going to be showing you, hello, Alison.
Hello, good morning.
So nice to see you in Johannesburg. Greetings from Kigali. Alison is the head of research and market intelligence at CAHF, and Alison's going to be sharing with us what has been consuming the team for the last few months, and I'm very excited to hear and to see what you're going to show us at the launch of the yearbook for this year. Alison, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to share my screen here. Oh, that doesn't work. Let's try this again. There we go. Is that showing the slides?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
It's not coming through. It's okay. We've had this. It's
there we go.
Sometimes finicky.
Now am I winning?
I don't see it yet, but yeah, here we go. It's coming. There's a delay, but it's coming.
Okay, super.
Great. It's on.
Great.
On
it's wonderful to join you this morning, and we're very excited to share with you the fruit of lots of labor over the last few months. For those of you who are not aware, CAHF produces a yearbook each year that covers the housing and housing finance markets in each country in Africa. And we are producing and launching today our 2021 Housing Finance in Africa yearbook. The yearbook project, is an important one for CAHF. It's our flagship publication. And this 2021 version represents the 12th edition of the yearbook. And over those years, it has grown considerably. So you can see how our covers have evolved and gotten a little bit brighter through the years. But essentially, we started with a few countries, and now we cover all 54 plus Western Sahara. And we include some infographics to summarize the details and data from each region, as well as contain an overview that gives a little bit of a state of the sector report each year. Now, the publication, I think what makes it unique is that it is a collaborative effort. So we don't write it ourselves sitting in Pretoria, nor do we hire a single consultant to produce it. What we do is we advertise and pull together a team of consultants from across the continent and actually across the globe. We look for experts in country, in each country, to research and author the profiles for each country. And this year, I can say that we have over 60 contributors to the yearbook. So in some cases, more than one author is helping with a profile. We also have a number of editors who assist. So it's a massive collaborative effort. And for anybody who has worked on a publication trying to get 2 or 3 chapters together, you can understand the breadth of work that happens when we have 55 chapters to coordinate. So one of the exciting things about the yearbook is that it has a link to CAHF's data agenda for Africa, of which the African Union for Housing Finance is also involved. So this is part of a broader coalition and initiative to strengthen the data infrastructure for housing markets on the continent. So through our data collection process each year with the yearbook, we collect a set of 32 indicators from each country. These are key indicators about the mortgage market, about construction costs, about suppliers, about demand, and it enables us to have an updated picture of what's happening in each country each year. We also draw on international data sets as well, including the World Bank and others. And this year we've added a few indicators to look at COVID and its impact in each country in order to start to understand how that impact is affecting the housing market. So this year, we were drawing back after our first year with COVID. We're now reaching nearly 2 years of dealing with the pandemic. And our overview section, which is authored by CAHF, and provides a sort of state of the sector report, as I said, first of all, looks at some of the major forces that are shaping housing markets this year. So GDP per capita, urbanization rates that are very high across the continent, the percent of the urban population living in slums, the SDG indicator, as well as the map here on the right, which is an interesting one. It's the cumulative number of COVID deaths per 100,000 people in the population. We have two COVID indicators in the yearbook. One of them is the cumulative number of deaths, and the other is the percent of the adult population that is fully vaccinated. You can see from the picture here that the impact, of course, is uneven across the continent, and that the quality of the data and the reporting is also quite uneven. But what we're seeing, of course, is that we have high urbanization rates and that the COVID pandemic is impacting on housing markets and affordability. So our key indicator in the yearbook is the cheapest newly built house, which I know we've already been discussing over the last day. We collect information. We ask each yearbook author to go out and speak to 3 developers, private developers in urban areas, and find out the cheapest house that they have been building over the last year. When we did that this year, we didn't find a house that was cheaper that we could verify than what we discovered back 2 years ago, which was the house built by the Millard Fuller Foundation in Abuja, which is about $8,275 US. You can see here that it's the lowest. Now, the range of the cheapest newly built house per country, most of the countries are sitting somewhere between 10,000 and 40,000, while others reach much higher. But this serves as an important indicator of what developers are able to deliver and what is available. It's important to note that with this indicator, it's not the cheapest house that can be built, but the cheapest that is currently being built by private developers. It doesn't take into account the scale. So for instance, in Nigeria, there were only 600 units that have been developed at that cost so far. So one of the key things that we saw when we started looking at the data that was coming in this year was that we're seeing more examples of houses that are priced at the lower end of the market. So previously we saw the $8,275 unit in Nigeria, but we're also seeing other products and housing units that are coming up in different countries that are around the same range. So in Mozambique, in Kenya, and in Angola as well. Now, some of those are from private developers. The units are quite small, between 20 and 34 square meters. And often the developers are able to save on land costs by densifying the settlement, and in some cases likely receive some type of government subsidy. So understanding the level of subsidy that's required to reach this housing price is important. It's also important to note that in all of these houses that we're focusing on here, they all support a sustainable human settlements approach. So they aren't just boxes sitting on the land, but they also prioritize amenities to go along with the specs of the unit. So when we look then at housing affordability, we have the cheapest newly built house, but that remains unaffordable to the majority of households in Africa. So each year we look at the percent of urban households who could afford the cheapest newly built house that's available in that country. Now, the picture on the left is our story from 2020, last year, our first year of the impact of COVID. And on the right-hand side, you can see 2021, this year's picture, which is much more dense with red, showing us that affordability has significantly declined across the continent over the last year. So in terms of some of the main messages coming out of the yearbook this year, I mentioned already that we're seeing more examples of houses priced at the bottom end, more so than what we considered possible. A second theme coming out is that households continue to be the primary supplier of their own affordable housing. We've seen this previously, and it's an important theme that keeps being emphasized. The main thing that we wanted to highlight from the yearbook this year is the massive potential of small-scale developers and providers to together create a scaled opportunities for affordable housing. So if we concentrate on small scale providers, micro builders, and households themselves, and create an enabling environment for them to address their own needs and develop their smaller scale projects, the net effect will be much larger, will be greater than the sum of its parts, and will achieve the large scale that we're looking for. So the suggestion is that we need to shift our target to building a house that's around $11,500 US in recognition of the low income of a number of households. Focus on small scale suppliers and how to support micro builders and households themselves that are building and adding on to their units. Also, in the design of the finance products, we need to take into account that in order to address this target market, loans need to be small, incomes will be informal, and businesses are young and precarious. And finally, the link to data and to the data agenda. So the importance of making project level data available so that we can better understand the potential that's available in the market. So I want to just pause for a moment and thank our authors. But before I do that, I want to thank the two main editors of the yearbook. One is Susan Carey. For those of the authors who are currently listening to this presentation, Susan has been nagging you for the last 3 months to get chapters in. And she is the main editor and the magician that pulls this project together. Also, we have Maureen Cavillon, who is a member of the CAHF team, and she is editing the French version of the yearbook that we also produce at the same time. So we're receiving profiles in French and translating to English, and some of them are written in English and translated into French, and we try to do it all at the same time just to create chaos. So with special thanks to our team of authors, you can see that our list of authors is incredible. We have a variety of authors from across the continent. No author has written more than 2 profiles, so there's great diversity in this list. Some of these authors are those who have contributed to the yearbook before, and it's great to have them back. Some of them are new authors that are now joining our community of practice that is the team that develops this yearbook. So great thanks to all of these authors who have worked tirelessly to revise and edit their chapters. We also have a wider team that pulls this whole thing together. I mentioned the editors. We also have a team of external editors who go through each profile and fact check and look for readability. We have a set of translators who work tirelessly to swap from French to English and vice versa. The CAHF team plays a role in pulling together information and coordinating. Then we also have AUHF members and other associates of CAHF who are kind enough to step in and provide us with updated information or to fact check and sense test some of the information that we're collecting through the yearbook before we publish. We also have a team of copy editors, and we have a printer who has been amazing this year, who's dealt with power outages and all sorts of things in order to bring the production, the publication to fruition. So thank you very much. Perhaps, Kesia, you can hold up the document itself. There we go. That is the beauty. We only print a few hard copies, but the entire document is available online at CAHF's website this morning. If you go to our webpage, you'll be able to click on the front page and download and look at the entire PDF document. In addition, over the next few months, we'll be uploading PDFs of each of the country profiles, which is useful for you as practitioners in the field. If you're visiting a particular country to look at investment, you can download the 4-page summary of the housing and housing finance market in that country, read it on the plane. So the yearbook also has, and I would encourage you to go ahead and read the overview section right at the beginning. So nobody's expected to wade through 300 pages of profile. But if you want to have a sense of the overall developments across the country, the overview section at the beginning is a fantastic summary of what's been happening across the continent and what are the key developments and opportunities for investment. Okay, thank you very much. Please visit and let us know what you think.
Alison, thank you so much. I mean, it really is a tremendous effort. And I have to say that from my perspective, it's such an honor to have all of these people participating together and under your and Susan's direction to drive this and create this publication every year. It's a mammoth task, but I also know how many people do rely on it. And I rely on it all the time. I read it throughout the year as I'm trying to understand what's happening in a particular country. So I urge everybody to please download it. I put the address on the chat. And thank you so much to my team for putting this together. Really very grateful. And we look forward to hearing what you think. Thanks so much.